number 1, if I haven't mentioned this one before, we've got us a little bit of Sherlock Holmes action on the way called The Awakened Remake, well, which is just the old Awakened game in the form of a remake now. A game that originally came out more than like 15 years ago as a point-and-click mystery adventure, now in the works with, of course, updated visuals, brand new story arc, and voice acting, built in Unreal Engine 5 and due for all platforms, even Switch, around February next year. Check it out.
Holmes, get down!
Take it easy now, boys. They'll be dead soon enough.
Do not fight his calling, for he shall end this dream.
But their lies intoxicated you. You burned our homes and slaughtered our families. No longer am I frozen in terror, grief, and rage.
Next up, by the same publishers of the new Lord of the Ring that recently released Steel Rising, and just a bunch of other games in development right now, we've got over here from earlier June this year, another AAA title going by the name Hell Is Us, what is touted as a time-traveling third-person action adventure, and one that's being built with the use of Unreal Engine 5. This is the trailer, game set to be coming to PCs and the next generation of consoles only, sometime next year. Moving on, we have Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon from earlier this year. This is once again an open world quest-based RPG mystery horror theme, actually a little Bloodborne-esque kind of action game with a heavy focus on horror elements and dark stories of medieval times, which probably doesn't get any darker. Not really much to talk about with this one, as the title's just mystery nature has left a lot at its reveal. All we know is that the game's coming to PCs only, possibly early next year. Moving on, we have Cocoon from roughly 3 months ago. What is described by Annapurna Interactive himself, the old veteran cinematic game developers, believe it or not, by one of the Playdead's lead designers of games like Limbo and Inside, like I mentioned, described as an insectoid-driven top-down puzzle adventure, which is just quite the catch for a description title. Here's a trailer. Cocoon supposedly releasing early next year and on its way to PC, Switch, and Xbox consoles only. Assuming y'all already familiar with the Fable games, which is just a series of action RPGs that's been coming out since 20 years ago, maybe even more. We've got over here, and I've actually mentioned this one before, a Fable-inspired game on the way going by Bramble the Mountain King. What is touted as a horror adventure at its core. This game is set to come out mid to late 2023 into PCs and the past generation of consoles only. Check it out, in case you missed it. Chasing Static, well, developers, about a couple of months ago, finally came out and announced their newest game in the making, supposedly a third-person survival horror game and also a Kickstarter campaign kind of game, in case you're wondering, going by the name Hollowbody. A game I've actually been led to believe will have about only 2 to 3 hours of campaign, just like Chasing Static itself, and eventually releasing mid to late next year. Now, Greyhill Incident, on the other hand, is a pretty much brand new first-person survival horror that was like a couple of months ago, in case you missed out on what was then described to be based on aliens and UFO abductions, which is kind of a first for a horror game, or at least in the past few years. Greyhill Incident incorporates open world elements to some extent, I've heard. It is currently scheduled to come out around summer next year and into PCs only.
Brandon, they're here.
Nikolai, tell me what happened last night. Where's Victoria?
Calm down, Benedict.
I am calm, but we both don't remember what happened here, and we both had horrible dreams.
Next up, we've got Saint Kotar. Already out for PCs, this is a psychological horror detective game and just about the disappearance of a few people in a certain town. In case you missed it, guys, this is a point-and-click adventure and a lot like the old Black Mirror games. In any case, this game's on its way to all consoles and Switch November 22nd. Next year, technically it was supposed to be released this year's October, but it is now pushed back for further polish.
Before he kills my dear wife, and before he kills us all.
Look around. Can you smell death?
People assigned to protect us from evil have turned evil themselves.
Even God has given up hope for Sveti Kotar.
Open your eyes! God will condemn you for leaving your sister to die here.
The moment you step out of here, your downfall into obscurity will begin. You need each other.
At number 14 we've got Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. This is a mystery adventure game that was announced during the Nintendo Direct Mini just a little while ago, a couple of months ago, and once again from Anapan Interactive with the aim to come out for PCs and Switch. This game just got itself a new delay and now releasing next year. The game is, as you can see, in black and white. It is a detective style puzzler taking a lot of cues from the classic point and click adventure games. At number 10, we've got once again Sons of the Forest, the survival horror hit that's been in the making since 2018, a direct sequel to The Forest itself, and now this time around putting you in the shoes of an unnamed character sent to a remote island to rescue a billionaire in the midst of some cannibal hellscape. Check it out. Sons of the Forest is partly an open world game at its core, in case you were wondering, and it is due for release February 23 for PCs and into both generations of consoles as well.
And you have no capacity for understanding.
Coming up behind that, we've got Firmament by Cyan Ventures, which is the same lead developers of the old horror game Myst from 30 years ago. Well, this is the first Kickstarter project that was pledging for like $1 million initially, which actually passed into stretch goals and now releasing early next year. Firmament over here is described by its developers, in case you're wondering, as a deeply immersive narrative adventure game designed for VR but also built to play on PCs as well.
Now I'm dead. You are a thread of hope for opening the gateway and preparing for the arrival. Vite dilationem effere recurit firmamentum. Firmamentum.
If you're itching to have hands on something like Playdid's Insight, sometime soon maybe, you might want to keep an eye out for something over here called Blue June. This is a 2D, 3D story-driven adventure with elements of exploration, puzzle solving, stealth, and even horror games. This game's already on the Kickstarter. It's playable through a demo, even on Steam, with a full product scheduled to come out around June next year. Up next, we've got FRIGID This is a exploration-based survival horror inspired by the Thing movie, and will sit in some Arctic region, apparently Canada, where this cataclysmic event puts you in a fight to survive sort of situation against nature. This game is, as you can see, an open world and all set after a deadly virus has hit this part of the Earth's specific wildlife. Check it out. It is coming to PCs, we hear, in about only a few months from now.
Started randomly all over the outskirts of town while hunters reported powerful yet sporadic sounds coming from deep in the mountains. A few months later, these sounds began to reverberate around the forest and lake area, accompanied by recurrences of wildlife corpses showing up at a consistent rate. Hunters and hikers have become concerned. I had my town officers conduct investigations into these incidents without cause. About a few months ago, reports have escalated into vandalism and property damage in town. One of my officers investigating this was killed. It appears an animal was involved. We have called experts in from the city, and they will be arriving shortly.
My name is Amber. I'm a climate researcher investigating the pristine lake. Something has been released into the lake infecting the animals. I can explain what is going on, but first I need your help.
Coming up behind that from precisely a week ago, we've got over here Edengate's Edge of Life. This game is now available on PCs and past generation of consoles only, and sitting on all platforms with pretty much mixed reviews ever since November 15 this year. This is just an honorable mention. Edengate is just a neat little mystery adventure and more like just a walking simulator, a story based. The game takes you roughly 2 to 3 hours to finish. Here's a new trailer and it'll take you down for $7.
How could this happen?
And last but not least, from earlier this year, we've got Neon Knights Humanity Erased. This is a psychological noir game set in frozen Copenhagen, that's Denmark, in case you're wondering, and in the year 2079. This is a story-based game in which you play the role of some exorcist, but in a digital form, not like the movies where you get to go extract demons with holy water. However, here's how it looks. Game is currently in development for PCs only and set to come out mid to late next year.
Elena.